we're back with another Age of Mythology Retold point of view game. Today we're watching Kvothe versus the Rapple. This was a game from the grand finals of the Mythic Wars tournament hosted by Yodesla. So this whole game was a best of 9. So if you want to go see that, then feel free to check out Yodesla or Boit's streams of it. They stream together, so choose whichever one you wish. But we're going to be watching this game, as the title suggests. The Rapple is going to come in with a bit of a Kronos rush, and Odin is one of the gods which really struggles with it, purely from the fact that, I mean, they have hearses that they really want to get out of their temple. If the temple is deconstructed, then it's a bit of a problem. They need their berserks, their hearses to build things. Their great halls take a calendar year to build. It's a really bit of a struggle. So we're going to be seeing what's happening there, and we're going to be moving on. So the map is Giza, and we see Kvothe going for a bit of a different build here. So he hasn't gone for any early upgrades, which makes sense. You're against a Kronos, you don't want to advance super late. But he's also going for this kind of weird gatherer over to the palm tree thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is a shorter distance, but for some reason they love dropping off ox carts. If you ever find that happens to you, just go to one that's nowhere near any ox cart. That's normally what I find. But his berserk is going to be having a look around to see where he's off to next. And he hasn't spotted any gold mines, which is a bit wild. He spotted this town center, which has 2 rhinos on it. This map can have 1 or 2 rhino spawns on the grass next to the town center. So he's on the 2 rhino variant. So it just means your town centers are slightly better. But we're not going to be worrying about that during the start of this game. He's also just spotted a bit of hunt. So pretty classic standard Odin start there. He's also going to be looking for somewhere to put his temple. Now, Rapple here is going to want to deconstruct it somewhere. We already see an oracle from Kvothe's point of view here, and he's spotted the jackpot of gold mines if you're playing against a rushing player. It's a back gold mine. There's a tree here. You would like to think that the trees carry on to the side. If they don't, which they probably don't because of how the grass spawns, you can just get a wall across here or some buildings. And he's also placing the temple quite far back. So what Rapple needs to do is needs to walk through this way to see it, or he needs to walk across the top. He can't walk through this way because there's a town center. So he's banking on the fact that this temple will get at least 1 or 2 hearses out of it before the Kronos player manages to find it. He's then going through Freya, a 3-minute advance time, 3:05, whatever the new numbers are, I don't know. And it looks like there is an oracle somewhere, maybe in these dark spots. So he does manage to spot the temple before the hearser comes out, which is perfect timing, which means that Kvothe needs to react. And he reacts by putting the temple next to the town center. You want to hide it to start with when the deconstruct is available. As soon as it isn't available, you want to put it next to the town center because the town center deals ridiculous damage. And then in comes the Prometheans. We see oracles on every side, and Kvothe is just going to go, well, I've kind of gathered enough gold. He even put an extra gatherer over to that gold to just gather enough gold because he knows he's not going to be able to gather gold until he advances and gets a few units out. Does get his temple, gets a hearser out, and this berserk's going to be also wanting to build something more than likely. It looks like it's running away though, but this hearser will definitely be building a building. You want to get maybe a barracks up to get some quick units out, or you can get a great hall to try and get some strong units out. And the Valkyrie looks like he's trying to go for the Prometheans. The Prometheans do 3x damage against the Valkyrie. The benefit of the Valkyrie, of course, is that she can heal up if there's 2, but Kvothe has no favor in the bank at all. And Rapple has already got that upgrade, Alluvial Clay, which we saw because the three offspring came out, which is the main benefit of that upgrade. It's also just going full rush, everything coming forward. And this is something which happens at the top level as well. It isn't it isn't just the kind of low mid-level games. This happens to everybody, especially against Odin. So Watchtowers is pre-queued. Watchtowers is an insanely good upgrade now because the towers have been buffed, but it was always the choice anyway. Also trying to place his buildings in a way that can somewhat defend these towers as well. We see the hero Carabalus coming through, and this guy is such a pain to deal with. Notice that he is trying to get as much gold as he possibly can, even while being attacked by these Carabalus, but at some point he is going to have to run away, and does decide to do that, and he's probably going to be, what, 100 gold or so? He's on 99 gold. So what does he do? He's probably just going to run to the back. You don't always have the benefit of this on every map, but we do on this one, so you've got to make the most of it. Oracle does spot that straight away, and the Berserk is going to be chasing him off and building a wooden wall up, as we said. So this palm tree doesn't really get to the side, so we're going to have Mr. Hersa come over and deal with that. So the Ravens are also just trying to spot what's happening within the Kronos space, but basically you just want to be sitting back at home. He hasn't managed to actually get the watchtower upgraded, and actually the watchtower that was researching that has actually gone down. So Kavoth needs to know that that's happening, or maybe he doesn't care anymore. Maybe this watchtower was the only one he really wanted. This one does somewhat defend the units coming this way, but the other ones don't really do too much. I mean, yeah, this wood line you don't really need to go to. You can just go over here. Even a second defensive wall here. So if that first one goes down, we've got a nice little bit here, and everything very defensive. Watchtowers is actually coming back up, so he does definitely want that one. And I think Rappel is definitely respecting Kavoth here. I assume Rappel knows that there's a gold mine here, because normally this map, if there's a back gold mine here, there's normally a back gold mine this side. We won't be swapping to Rappel's perspective though, just because we're going to see what Kavoth sees. But you would assume that he knows. I mean, he knows there was an oracle here, wasn't it? Because he was there to deconstruct the temple. He definitely knows. And then we see what you also need to do if you're on the back foot against a Kronos. When the Kronos alleviates a bit of pressure, you want to obviously leave some units at home, but get your raiders in and hit them where it hurts also. So he's going to try and find this citizen here. Could be a pretty big citizen snipe if he manages to get this one with his 4 raiders, but pretty big valor there. Should be able to save the citizen, but forces out of valor. Not too bad. Also just getting that idle time in, but the Prometheans will defend pretty nicely. Does need to run away with that low HP one. Does get sniped off, and while this is happening, Rappel is coming back, and Kavoth just decides, nope, I'm just going to leave that and go back to my one on the front, more than likely. Due to the deconstruct coming down on the Great Hall, which might seem a bit weird, but the Great Hall just takes so long to build that it's actually not a bad shout at all to do those, especially while you're putting the pressure on. Watchtower, yes, it did somewhat defend this side. Not as much value as if this watchtower was here, but back on the front with his gold mine, he's got his raiders going around the map, getting his favor, and that has allowed him to get a Valkyrie out. So the Valkyrie is coming. And Valkyries could be the option to take down any of the human units, really. I was just going to say those Kyroballister, but the Kyroballister are all heroes, and that is where you really do struggle as the classical Age Norse player to try and take those out. We do see a bit of a raid over here, but the very strong citizens coming around, and yeah, I'm not I'm not entirely sure what that forest fire was. I assume Kavoth thought he was baiting Rappel in, but he didn't fall for that bait, and didn't really need to react too much, to be honest. Bit of a weird forest fire. Did manage to get 10 HP on that guy that ran past, but still, all this distraction happening means that he can get his wall back up, means he can get his gold mine, and this is the position that the Odin really wants to be in. Like, he's just going to be searching around the map. Does have Valkyrie number 2 out. Houses coming up all around the watchtower. So did he manage to get some eco upgrades? No, he's starting to get them now. That's the other thing. Early eco upgrades are just a no. You need to spend everything on your military presence, your buildings, anything to defend, and then once you've somewhat stabilized, which we would say that Kavoth probably has now. Although you look at the score, and he is quite far behind, but I think it's just because he's probably lost more units. I think the villagers are very equal. I don't believe Kavoth actually lost any villagers. He just took some HP down. But there's a lot of myth units on the side of Rappel, and they normally count for a lot of score. So one of these Termers are going to get sniped. Valkyrie coming in to try and raid, but there's a lot of Promethean offspring there. They only have 1.5 times damage against the Valkyrie, so they should be able to take that fight, to be honest. Yeah, Valkyrie, very, very strong. We'll be able to take those out. Catapulties, nice reaction time, just notices that straight away, while also attacking this side, getting his buildings up. It's got 1 longhouse, 2 great halls, got enough to kind of get some units out. Also getting that next Valkyrie, definitely worth getting Disciplot if you've got 2-3 Valkyries. It gets them up to 18 attack, and they heal quicker. Just a great all-round upgrade. if you're getting more than one. I mean, it's just a safe bet if you're getting myth units in general. If you're going to get about 3 myth units, it's normally worth it. Preemptive Valor there does scare Kavoth off. Was probably going to win that fight anyway, but just didn't want to lose the HP on those units. Even though they are counter units, I mean, you've just got more of these guys. They're not upgraded though, so probably just worth running. Why not? Poor Raven gets absolutely one shot. Military, medium cavalry, military cavalry, almost called that. Coming in, which will be nice for the raiding Odin. And now Odin is back where he wants to be. He wants to be a raiding force. He wants to get his Valkyries out. He wants to get his raiding cavalry out. He wants to get his Thundering Hooves upgrade. And even again, his Pierce armor in so he can dive underneath towers. And now the Odin has managed to weather the storm enough to now be a big presence in the Kronos base while also defending very, very nicely. Really making the most of this second gold mine back here. Big attack coming this side, but Kavoth is just going to come and get a big raid off. Does find a low HP hero citizen that he hit earlier. Very nice there. And looks like the wood line does manage to run off while also getting some damage on this side. Going after the mana, tanking with the Valkyrie, that town center is a great play. Making sure that one's the first one forward. Great Hill will probably go down, but also manages to get mana on the other side. There is a low, not a low HP, but a villager in the middle of nowhere. Could have probably got that one out. Nice bit of micro from Rappel to get most of those citizen out, but one of them does get caught. And then this is just Odin all over. When he's given an inch, he just takes it. Just going after everything. I was thinking about that citizen, but it's just going to garrison, and it's going to take too long to actually take that mana out. The Raven did spot something here, and so many throwing axemen back to defend. It's such a great defensive unit. Just does a ridiculous amount of damage, and you see that Rappel's built loads of catapulties, which are obviously to counter the raiders. But if the raiders are nowhere near, then they can just get the damage done with the throwing axemen to counter those bad boys. Valkyrie going to have a look up the top. So instead of getting Discipline, he wants the faster raiders, faster Valkyrie. I think that's a fine shout. Just sort of depends what you're after. Gold gathers faster was missed, which is pretty wild. Very good relic. Didn't notice this one either. Wall hit points wouldn't make a big difference on wooden walls. I mean, you get a couple of 100 hit points though. Excuse me. Still trying to look at these gold mines. Yeah, it's going to snipe a hero catapulty whenever you can there. So the rest of them are in full force. Don't have any upgrades. Did manage to get some extra attack from a relic, which you definitely say no to. The big counter to throwing axemen is the Terma. So the Terma are out to deal with them. It's going to be a case of who can micro better, really. Also getting more armory upgrades in. Let's see how many dwarves he actually managed to get. Because something about, I mean, if you didn't have the second gold mine back here, it would be worth going less dwarves than normal. But you didn't really have to worry about that because it got 6k gold in the back here. Medium catapulties are going to take out these guys so quick, but Kavoth did react just probably a second too late and then loses 2 raiders for that. Does want to get back on this gold mine whenever he can. And there's so many Prometheans. Hardly any heroes out. Only 4 heroes. No real upgrades to take care of myth units. There's nothing you can really get in the classical age. Valkyries are a good option. But if you're in the mythic, in the heroic age even, you can get Jarls with the Jarl upgrade. If you go Njord, you can get some damage against myth units. There aren't many techs that really give bonus damage versus myth units to non-heroes, but it is nice when you can. I guess getting a bit lost with these guys. I think these guys are going to come down to this rhino down here. And then back on another raid. Rappel does spot that one. I'm kind of surprised that Rappel's not, when he sees this large amount of units here where he's defended it really nicely. You could just go, I mean, we can see from his perspective, he's going through Hyperion, so he wants to hit some sort of timing there. But still interesting not to see sort of the damage going in. Then I guess he doesn't know that that Kavoth's army is kind of out of position here to defend this side. It is well within position to defend these rhinos though. And the raids just keep coming. Not much to hit though, just some nice micro to get all these villagers out, but this one is in the middle of nowhere. And just these little snipes are what the Odin player is always after. I decided to go with two groups even, just going for the full force with one. Something that these top players definitely can do is to split them up into 2 groups, but it does take a bit more control, but can definitely be useful if you've got multiple places to attack. The issue is he doesn't really know where the villagers are, and now this is when Rappel does go for the attack. So he's waiting on that Hyperion, but he is saying that he doesn't see his units, he's just seen all these cavalry, and just as we said, he's going to wait for Kvoth to kind of answer this one. Does bring his throwing axeman in. Skadi is on the way, which is going to be a very nice frost. Does get hit with the chaos on the counter units, and the counter units just destroy themselves. Quite far down in the population, but we do manage to get Skadi in before the town centre goes down. Perfect timing there, and all of these will get frozen. You need to make sure to target down the ones that are moving rather than these guys. They don't die. There's no point attacking them at all. You need to micro onto the ones that are actually doing damage. Something that is really annoying is if you just hit attack move, they'll just go for the closest ones, even if they are frozen. They won't prioritize the moving boys. Does decide to get a hill fort up. Do you have to worry about the deconstruction coming in? I mean, we see that for now Rappel doesn't have the favor, but I mean it's going to come in very, very quick. You just got to assume as the Odin player that deconstruct is probably going to come in, which we do see the 2 hill forts coming up. Heavy catapults to deal with. We do see a lot of units coming in. Only have the 5 military buildings though, so depending on how many Rappel has here, it might be quite difficult to defend. But throwing axemen kind of untouched here. The whole load of units getting attacked here. We do have 200 HP on that hill fort. Deconstruct coming down on this side, but the throwing axemen, bit of micro to rebuild, then attack, then rebuild, then attack. Very nice play. And now the town center damage, the hill fort damage. The villagers can just turn around and attack with their knives if they really want to. And manages to take down that. Nope, the Satyr didn't go down. So even though all the heroes are down, the myth units did manage to get taken down by, to be honest, the arrows from the hill forts, from the town centers. That is another option against myth units. Just using the buildings, using the strong buildings. Basically got no villagers on food now. Just decided to kind of micro that fight, bring everything onto wood and gold, just to make it nice and easy. I mean, something you can easily build out as the Odin is you get some really strong wood and gold units. You get the Huskell, you get the throwing axemen, and you get the Godi, which are being built. It's just a trio combo that you can build with no food at all. And then you can just build dwarves from your town center. So if you are food starved, or if you don't want to spend the resources on getting loads of farms down, you can just go for that full wood army. It can be countered pretty well. I think it's mainly countered by Cantarius from the Atlantean. So a full Cantarius would melt this. They get bonus damage against the throwing axemen. The Huskell have really low hack armor, and they also get bonus damage versus the Godi there. It's quite an expensive tech switch though, because we saw earlier that Rappel had heavy infantry. So he's spent a lot of his resources getting the tech that size, then he would have to go into the cav, but it's definitely a good shout. Frost Giants coming in, we have 66 favor, and these cost like 20, is it? 22, so he can literally get 3 more exactly if he wants to. That looks like that is what he decides to do. Then securing his next gold mine. The back gold mine worked wonders, and he's about to finish this one on the front, so he needs to secure his next one. And just get a hill fort up here, little cheeky wall this side, maybe even just hill fort could be a nice idea. Deconstruct, you've always got to worry about it. Nice throwing axemen. Do they have the Skadi upgrade? Yeah, the Skadi upgrade is insane, because it's basically it gives you ballistics, a ballistics type effect where your arrows or axes don't miss, and you also get a bit of extra range, 13 range. So nice. Bit of Huskell raids. They do decent damage against the villagers, to be honest, and they can tank the town center pretty well. So it's not a bad idea. Villagers moving down here in classic Kvoth fashion, just kind of expecting these to not get found, because why would your opponent be there? It's something that a lot of these top players do. I've tried to incorporate that, and especially against my sort of level or lower, you can really make the most of this. If you're really obvious with it, like if he went out there when he wasn't out here also, then you're just going to get found. But he needs to defend this side. Rappel knows that this is where he wants to attack for the gold. So these bits are just free. We do see that deconstruct coming in. There's no second hill fort coming up, so he needs to win this fight. Doesn't have heavy infantry even. Would probably be worth waiting for that heavy infantry. Nice bit of throwing axeman micro to move away from the Arcus. Looks like the Arcus have misstepped slightly, and that's a lot of DPS lost from that Arcus misstep. Trying to go for a specific unit instead of attack moving. I mean, those Frost Giants are just such a tanky front line. What do we have? Copper versus copper. So pretty similar upgrades. Even getting these Frost Giants in. And this is, yeah, what we were saying earlier about the Valkyrie. Just get the Frost Giant upgrade. Why not? You've got 4 Frost Giants. You've got 5 Frost Giants. Did I see a 6? There's six Frost Giants. They're so strong with that upgrade with the extra HP. And I can't click on it. I don't think I can. They get extra HP, extra damage, and then they can freeze people more often. Just why not? In general, let's just say 3 is probably the time where you're going to be like, rather than build a 4th one, just get the upgrade. Especially as these boys are pretty slow. So if he wants to attack now, he could just cancel this one, get his rhyme in, and just go full force. Then rather than waiting for the last one to come, you just go, well, these boys are now, they get their hats on, and it's all a party, and it's a great time. And he's going to go around with his no food cost army. We do see the Kantarius are the counter to this, but there are hardly any heroes in. Oh, there's a few. There's a few heroes to deal with the Frost Giants. You just need to target those down with those throwing axemen. Even though Kantarius are counter units, kind of. They don't have that much hack armor, and you can just take down those hero units, which he's done very nicely. I think there is a couple here which he has missed, which are making a light work of those Frost Giants. Nice bit of micro from Rappel to move them away, but it is a little bit late, but was getting the value with them before they started to get attacked. And then the old Ulfjarls are in now that the farmers are back to work. And this patch is all about siege, but there are plenty of myth units that count as siege. Frost Giants, Battle Boars, Mountain Giants, all the heroic ones for Norse count as siege units. They get this crush damage here. Even ones that you don't think would have crush damage, like Medusa have crush damage. You know, they can be used against buildings. They're not the best. Some of them are strict crush damage units, like the Mountain Giant, which has a massive special against buildings, or the Scarab. But a lot of them are your building killers. You don't just have to build your portable rams with the blonde guy and the ginger guy coming in. That I never noticed that there was one blonde guy, one ginger guy, until I watched Spirit of the Law's video when he was playing AOM, and he just said it's just so funny how they would line that up so that you have to have a blonde guy with a ginger guy. I just never noticed. I just thought it was really funny. If we manage to see one, we can zoom in on it. Ulfsark's getting changed over here. I think there was a bit of a raid, and the Ulfsarks got changed over. It looks like these guys aren't actually going to get built. Just go straight for the jugular. There's such a big army here. Just attack where the army is, and it's always the best bet. The big Thrym Frost Giants are in. That's probably not how you say it at all, but they are in. And they're going to be taking out this town center very nicely. The Kantarius are back, and this is what I meant about the Kantarius. He had to swap into those, so it means he couldn't afford heavy, which makes a big difference. There's also, do we see Herdman? We see a couple of Herdmen. There he is, the ginger guy with the blonde guy. But the Herdmen tear through those Kantarius, and they're quite hard to spot because I feel like they look very similar to some of the other units. Like maybe the throwing axemen. If you're not really paying attention, they have a blue hat rather than a silver hat, but they look so similar. So if you can sneak in some Herdmen when you haven't had them for a while, just only throwing axemen, then whacking a few Herdmen, it can be very, very nice. And then Rappel just base is getting overrun, and probably just thinking about the next game of the tournament, because this was quite a few games deep. I think this was game 5. So, but won't have any spoilers of who's winning if you want to check that one out. But we do have the spoiler that Kavoth definitely won this game. It was a very nice game by him, managing to defend the Kronos rush very nicely. And yeah, there's something that happens within these tournament games. You just don't really want to give up, or you want to have a think about what you can do within the next game while you've got the time. And how do they deal with this heavy Cantarius? Yeah, the heroes do. Even just one Cantarius hero deals a decent amount of damage to these frost giants. Kavoth does go for the settlement. It's the classic team gameplay. If you're overrunning somebody, then if you're Norse, just take their town center. Does decent damage. It's almost like putting a fort up. Not as good, but kind of flexing. And that's Kavoth's win there. We can have a look at the some of these timelines. So I don't think he actually lost any villagers, which is impressive, to be honest. Don't know how to get rid of that. Yeah, so looks like he didn't lose any villagers. It's Moose in the blue. Because he is just behind, because Rappel will be ahead because of how citizens work. And then we saw a big military resource boom value there. If you want to check out the rest of this, I said Yodesla and Boit did it. I'll link their stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.